Welcome to Thapar Institute of Engineering and Technology, Patiala presents News18 Punjab, Haryana Education Summit Season 4, co-powered by Reliance Industries Limited, Associate Partner World Immigration Network and Baba Freed Group of Institutions, Bathinda, supported by CT University, Ludhiana and GNA University, Phagwada. Digital Learning Partner, TCY Online, Travel Partner, Travel Tip, Overseas Partner, ESS Global. Today we have gathered here to discuss the future of education in a fast-changing world. Since artificial intelligence is in talks, or rather in use already, its impact on education, on jobs, on all the other sectors needs to be discussed. How will the education change? How will teaching change in such a fast-changing world is a question we all are wondering. So with that, let us begin the discussions. But before that, let us have a look at the purpose of the summit through an audio-visual.
Welcome to the Education Summit Season 4, where we gather to revolutionize education through the latest technological advancements, including the power of AI. This summit is a hub of innovation, a place where we explore the potential of artificial intelligence, augmented reality, virtual reality, and blockchain in education. At this transformative summit, we ignite the spark of curiosity and reimagine the classroom experience, leveraging AI to empower students and educators alike. Together, we redefine the boundaries of education, integrating Internet of Things, machine learning, and gamification into the classroom, powered by AI technology. Innovate, educate, elevate. Join us at the Education Summit Season 4, where we embark on a journey to shape the minds of tomorrow, revolutionizing education through AI.
In this transformational summit, we will also have with us a special anchor today who will be posing questions to our esteemed guests, our AI anchor, Kaur.
अर्शदीप सारे मेहमानां नू सत श्री अकाल मेरे बारे यानी एआई बारे मेरे भी बहुत सवाल ने उम्मीद है आज सारे जवाब मिल जाएंगे.
Let us now move on to the keynote address. Our keynote speaker for this event is Dr. Ajay Batish, Deputy Director, Thapar Institute of Engineering and Technology. I'd now like to call Dr. Batish to the podium and deliver the keynote address. Dr. Batish is a professor in the Department of Mechanical Engineering. He holds a PhD in engineering and has over 100 referred journal articles. With an experience of over 33 years, he is with TIET since 1999. Over to you, sir.
Good evening, everyone. I'm so glad to see Thapar Institute presenting this education summit. Although the focus of today's program is on AI, but I, being a mechanical engineer, I told the organizers that I really know nothing much about it, so I won't speak on that. I will leave it to the experts to talk about it. I will focus broadly more on outcome-based education and our experience at Thapar Institute of implementing it. See, in 2015, we set up a Center of Academic Practices and Student Learning. The key thing in this CAPSL is student learning. What had happened all these years, last many decades, is that teaching has always been teacher-focused, while we are trying to make this change and move towards student focus. The key thing is about student learning, not about teaching, right? That's the focus, and that's what we have been trying to do in the last, I would say, 9 or 10 years. I will use a metaphor which one of our, a former NBA chairman who was with us a little while, maybe a couple of months ago, and he said, मुझे क्या पढ़ाना है important नहीं है, क्या important है मुझे क्या student को बनाना है. And that's where student learning is so important. If you go to an architect, give him and tell him that I've got a 300 square yard plot of land, and tell him to build a house for you. You have all the money, everything. He's a great architect. Everything is great. Do you think he can build it? No, he cannot. He will need specifications. He will need your requirements. He will need to know what do you need in this in this house, right? You will say, okay, what is the cost? He will tell you, you will need so much of metric tons of cement, so much of building material, everything that you need to build a house. And if you bring all that and dump it in the plot, do you think you can build a house? Still not, right? This is what we do with our curriculum. We say, I've given you 4 courses in science, 4 courses in mathematics, 15 courses in your specialization, 4 courses in humanities. I made a top-class engineer or a top-class student. Do you think it works that way? No, because what is missing in this is interconnectivity. If you give a child some building blocks and ask him to solve a puzzle or make a puzzle out of it, do you think a little child can do it? He has all the, the building blocks. He will need to understand the interconnections of all the building blocks. In teaching, what has been missing in many of our institutions is this interconnectivity. We teach them in isolated way, one course not connecting to the other, and then how will the outcomes of a particular student be met if we have not taught them in a particular way? We have been, the older the institution, the bigger the problem is. Now what happens in many cases, if it's an old institution, you have very, very senior professors, and what will they tell you? They said this topic, this subject is the most important, you can't remove it. So, although you will keep claiming that our curriculum revision takes place so quickly, so frequently, in reality, nothing changes besides a little cosmetic change here and there. I read in a case study that in 1950s, the knowledge used to double in 25 years. The rate of change of knowledge used to be 25 years. What is it today? Today it is possibly 25 days. Are we modifying, changing our curriculum with these changes? If I studied something 40 years ago, do you think I can use the same rate of change today, what I studied 40 years ago? That's something that we need to do. That's something, I can take an example from nature. Think about a snake. It sheds its skin every year, right? That's nature's way of innovation. What do? I remember 20 years ago, we used to say we change our scheme every 4 years, right? And that too used to be a little cosmetic, as I just mentioned, right? So now the time has come that you cannot wait that long. You have to shed your skin. You have to shed the obsolete courses. You have to shed this extra weight. The student has a limited time. He just has that much period to finish his program. And if we don't give him what he needs, he will graduate with limited outcomes and will not be able to meet the requirements of a job market. I also remember an example of a student who took a physics course. This student, when he went to the class and write an exam, he was given a question that you need to measure the height of a very tall building with the help of a barometer. This was the question. The student wrote that I will go climb up the top of the building, I will tie the barometer to a rope, then I will drop the barometer slowly from the top of the building. When the barometer comes and touches the ground, I'll measure the length of the rope, and that's equal to the height of the building. Is that a correct answer or a wrong answer? It's a correct answer, perfectly okay answer. But the teacher said, no, you did not use the physics principle. I told you to use the barometer. He said, I did use the barometer. I had tied the barometer to the rope. Now, a dispute. The student challenged the assessment. He said, you can't give me a 0 because I gave you the right answer. And the matter went to the vice chancellor, director, whoever the administrators. The administrator heard about it. Now he also could not say anything because it was the right answer. But he also could not dispute with the teacher because he wanted a different kind of answer. Right? So what do you do in such situations? Form a committee or call an expert. And they called an expert. This expert came and talked to the student. He found out that the student has very different ideas. Right? He doesn't think in a traditional way, like every other student or most other students. He said, okay, we will do a retest tomorrow. The student came in the next day, he was given the answer script and he was given a retest. And said, finish this in 30 minutes, the same question. 25 minutes passed away. The student didn't write a single word on the answer script. This expert now, clearly, visibly upset, goes to the student and asks him, do you not know the answer? The student says, oh, well, I know 6 or 7 answers, but I do not know which answer you want. He said, what do you mean by it? He said, tell me, let's discuss it. The expert realized that this student is up to something. So, let me find out what kind of answers he has got. He said, tell me your answers. He said, I will pick up the barometer in my hand. I will go step by step, measure the height of each step, that's the height of the building. He said, are you funny? Are you making fun of me? He said, no, sir, this is not a funny answer. The funny answer would be that I'll take the barometer to the chief engineer of the building, gift him the barometer and say, give it to your daughter, and then ask him, look at your logbook and tell me the height of the building. He said, that's a funny answer. Even that is right. He said, but this is a physics exam. I am asking you to give me a physics answer. He said, okay, if you want a physics answer, I'll go to the top of the building, I'll drop the barometer from the top, measure the time taken by it to reach the ground with the help of a stopwatch, and use your physics equation of S is equal to ut plus half at square and tell you the height of the building. And if that also doesn't meet your expectations, then on a sunny day, I will keep the barometer on the side of the building and then measure the length of the shadows, 2 shadows it produces, and then by ratio proportion, tell you what is the height of the building. He said, well, now tell me, are these wrong answers? He said, these are not wrong answers, but there was also a way which teacher told you where P is equal to rho GH something, some pressure formula. Why did you not use that? He said, sir, for last 10 years, this teacher has been giving the same exam in the question. 60 students in the class write the same 10-line answer, get full marks. I wanted to check whether there are other answers to it. And as you can visibly see, there are many other answers to it. What we need to appreciate today is that the students have many alternative ways to get to the same outcome. And we need to appreciate it. The teacher is not supposed to act like a sage on the stage and he thinks that he is the repository of all the knowledge in the world and there's nothing else beyond it. A creative student will find multiple ways to solve the same question, right? And it is our duty to ensure that students is not only encouraged to take those alternative paths and also guide him on the way. This is a perfect example of an outcome-based education, right? So an outcome has to be achieved, whether you, now, if you have to climb a Mount Everest, whether you go from Nepal or you go from Tibet or you go from China or you go from Bhutan, it doesn't matter as long as you reach the top of the Mount Everest, that is fine, the outcome is achieved, right? What we curtail when we are teaching our students in the universities is, we think there is only one perfect answer, right? And that's what is killing the creativity and innovation among us, the students. I will also like to talk about a little bit about multidisciplinary education. All of us teachers think that if I introduce some higher level courses into the scheme, my quality of the education becomes great. A refrigeration engineer may not be a top-class mechanical engineer. An excellent mechanical engineer may not be a good engineer. An excellent engineer may not be a good scientist. An excellent scientist may not be a good human being. Right? So, we have to design our curriculum, say mechanical engineering in this case, for example, I'm taking. If all of us decide that tomorrow onwards we're going to teach music to every mechanical engineering student, it doesn't make any sense. We must be able to connect that if you have to teach music to a mechanical engineering student, there must be a reason for it. Right? If there is no reason, there is no point teaching that course. If you ask a math student in your university and ask him, why are you studying differential equations? Invariably, the answer you will get is, it is part of the syllabus. Right? Is that the answer? Is that the reason you are studying differential equations? You are studying differential equations. If you are a mechanical engineer, you are studying differential equations because later on you may have to do a refrigeration engineering course where you will need to know heat and mass transfer. And to solve a heat and mass transfer problem, you need to solve partial differential equations. To solve a partial differential equation, you need to solve a total differential equation. To solve a total differential equation, you must know integral calculus. To solve integral calculus, you must know basic mathematics. This is a thread which connects all the courses: maths, differential equations, partial differential equations, heat and mass transfer, the refrigeration. This is a thread which is connecting these courses. If we don't explain this to the students, they are lost. Right? I will also want to talk a little bit about assessment. Many times, many of us, we are all teachers, write a question saying, find the square root of 5. Oh, we don't stop there. We also say, find it on this is a numerical methods course, find a root of 5 with a Ranga-Kutta method. Why? Why can't you find root of 5 with any other method? No, that is a simpler method. I want you to learn the difficult method. Why should I learn a difficult method? Is that difficult method being designed to torture a student? Right? Why should we judge on what method the student must use? Possibly, that difficult method is very important because certain problems cannot be solved without using the difficult method. The student must be made to appreciate, and we should not sit on judgment on things of this kind that you must use a particular method to solve a question. I read in a study that a 4-year little kid asks about 73 questions in a day to her parents, to his or her parents. 73 questions. They are all small questions. Why should I eat this? Why should I not sit here? Why should I not go and play there? All different kinds of questions. And we, all of us teachers, right, we don't allow even that many questions in the entire program of study. That's what kills the creativity of the students. If we want exponential growth, we will need to encourage students to ask questions, right? Because if they ask questions, they will be inquisitive. It's only when they're inquisitive, they will excel in life. And for a country of our size, we are looking for exponential growth. In a normal circumstance, we'll only get a linear growth, which, of course, will never be useful to a country of our size. Let's do something that we achieve these goals of exponential growth that we all want. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, sir, for your opening remarks. We all know, especially nowadays, that teachers can also learn from the students, and maybe they should. I'll now request our managing editor, Jyoti Kamal, to please come on the stage and felicitate our guest. Thank you, sir. Thank you, Jyoti Kamal. We'll now move on to our